Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for understanding that I took a break last week. It was Christmas and everything, so I just decided to not edit and upload a video and just kind of relax, enjoy my time off of work, all of that. But we are back today to finish out my project pan for 2024. So this is going to be the finale wrap up. So I'm going to give you an update on those final 4 items that I was still working through for the month of December. And then I'm going to do a recap of everything that I used up in this 2024 Project Pan series. So I'm pretty excited to share all of that with you and for you to see the progress and how many things that we worked through together this year, and then kind of give some thoughts about moving forward for my 2025 Project Pan. So if you want to see all of that and more, then just keep watching. All right, so let's first start with the 4 items that I was still working on. I had 3 lippies and 1 face product. I did not finish any of them in December, but I did still make some pretty good progress. So let's start with the face product. It was my ColourPop highlighter in Lunch Money. And I definitely feel like I didn't use this a ton this month, but I always feel like I'm expanding the pan and there's really it's just built up around the edges now and not that much. So I definitely am glad with the progress that I made on this in the last little bit of the year. I wasn't panning it in the project necessarily, but I just kind of started pulling it into my everyday makeup drawer. I felt like I was making good progress, and using up an entire highlighter is something that is really difficult to do. And I think I said in the last one, this one, the ColourPop ones, they're like that cream to powder kind. So I definitely want to be more intentional about using up cream products that, might go bad faster than a powder product. So I'm glad that I made this much progress. And I'm definitely going to be rolling this into my 2025 project pan. I don't know if I'll do it in the beginning or more towards the end like I did this time, but I'll probably still be keeping it in my everyday drawer and just trying to make organic progress that way. But excited to see progress on that. Now for my 3 lippies, my lip liner, it is getting so short and stubby. This is the Makeup Forever lip liner in 3C. We've come down to where Makeup Forever pretty much is gone, and we've just got Aqua Lip left. So I think I can still, my goal is to basically use it till I can't sharpen it anymore. I don't know how far down the pencil actually goes. I'm assuming pretty far down, almost to the pink, but we will find out. I'm glad that I have been making progress on a lip liner. Again, it just goes to show certain makeup products like lip liners, they just take a really long time to go through, even if you're literally using it every single day, multiple times a day. So I definitely think that I could use this up in 2025, and that would be exciting to use up another lip liner. I've kept my collection pretty minimal with the lip liner, but I would like to kind of give myself the opportunity to use some of my other ones a little more consistently than this one. So again, I'll be rolling it into 2025, but I don't know if I'll do it right at the beginning. Next, we have the lipstick, which I am wearing today, and I also was using as a cream blush. It was this L'Oreal Le Lacquer skinny lipstick, and I really didn't make much progress on this month either. I just kind of got to the point where I am just done with this. I'm over it. I don't love the color. It's a little too of like a bright, like cool tone blue based pink almost, and I just don't love that color on me. This is also incredibly old, so while I did not finish it, I think I said in the last update video that I'm just gonna roll this out of my collection now. It's so old. I mean, it didn't really like break me out when I was using it on my cheeks, but I just feel like at a certain point, cream products especially, it's just not good to be putting it on my face. So I'm glad that I made effort on this and, used a lot more of it than I would have otherwise, but it's definitely time for this to go. And finally, I thought I was going to be able to use this up this month, but there is a lot more product in here than I thought. It is my Bite lip gloss in Sugar Drizzle, and I'm only at the T in Bite. Like I'm at the bottom of the T. And it just is crazy. I used this so many times, I felt like, and it's just, I don't know, I guess there's just more in there than I thought, which I'm not mad about. Of course, we all know Bite went out of business, what, like 2.5, 3 years ago now? So this is old. I bought this at the very end. So this might have been already old when I bought it. I don't know. But it's still going strong. My only complaint about this is it is incredibly sticky. So it's not my favorite formula, but it is really pretty for the winter season just because it's like that iridescent sparkly look. So I don't know if I'll roll this into my project pan again, but I think if I keep it in my purse and kind of make more effort on it in January, February, I could just organically use this up, which would be so nice to have my last Bite product out of my collection. So those are those 4 items that I was continuing to work on. None of them are empties, but we made good progress and I'm pretty proud of that for ending the year that way. So now let's go over everything that I used up in the project pan for the whole year. I went back to my planning to pan for 2024 video, which I will have linked below, and kind of went through, grabbed all the things that I had used. And I think that there are, 2 things in that video that I ended up decluttering, so I never actually used them up. One of them was a NYX lip gloss. I think it was in Strawberry Parfait, and it just was like, it had gone off. It was so old, and it was just to the point where I was like, I shouldn't be using this anymore. So that got tossed. And then the foundation that I had used for the last like good month and a half of the year was the Beauty Blender Bounce foundation. And I wasn't necessarily trying to use that up. I was just trying to decide if I liked it and wanted to keep it in my collection at all. Because I'd had it for like 2 years at that point and hadn't really used it. So it was a way for me to kind of force myself to use it, gather my thoughts, and I ultimately decided that I just wasn't that big of a fan. So I went ahead and moved that out in my collection declutter video, which I will also have linked below. But if we go back and we kind of start at the beginning, we'll do how you would do makeup, like primer all the way to like eyes and lips. So I used up 2 primers in this project pan. I used up my Essence Hello Good Stuff primer and my e.l.f. Mini Niacinamide Power Grip primer. Really proud of myself. Primers is something that I enjoy using as part of my routine, and I do think when you find the right ones, they can make a difference, whether it's gripping like the e.l.f. one, or this one was just kind of glowy and moisturizing. So that's definitely something I'm going to continue panning in 2025 as more primers. I used up 1 foundation as part of my project pan. This was the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Foundation. I really liked this. I think they came out with essentially the same one again this year. I couldn't really tell. The bottle looked exactly the same, but I really enjoyed this and would definitely consider purchasing it again. I am down to where I think I have 6 foundations in my collection. So I think for myself, that's a pretty good number for where I'm at, but if I ever wanted to buy another one, I would consider trying out the Fenty Beauty one again. I used up 1 concealer, the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer. The camo line in general, I am just not a fan of. I have found it to be incredibly drying. I've said that before. Even though this was the hydrating one, I just felt like it was very drying and like kind of patchy and hard to blend in. Same with the Camo Powder Foundation. I used this up as well. Again, it just felt incredibly drying and like a weird powdery consistency, like not super fine, but not really giving me a ton of coverage at the same time. It was weird. I just kind of decided, I've had a couple things from the camo line and I'm just like, I just don't think this is for me. So kind of disappointed in those, but glad that I used them fully up and have solid thoughts on them. I also finally used up my really old Maybelline Better Skin Superstay powder. This I had had in my collection forever, and it was just kind of, I had the shade 30 Warm Nude, which was also just like the wrong color for me. Like it's way too dark. So I was able to kind of use this up in the summer. So glad about that. I just found that like between this and the camo one, like I'm not a powder foundation person. I like a setting powder or like a translucent powder to just kind of set and blur everything together. I don't want a ton of color or like extra coverage from my powder. So that is something that I learned from project panning this year. So now going forward, I'm not going to be buying powder foundations. I did use up 3 bronzer products, which is crazy. Really proud of myself. The first is this Wet n Wild contour stick in Oaks on You. This I enjoyed. There's still like a little bit left in there, but honestly, I was like, I'm not gonna dig that out. I'm just gonna call it done. So this had been in my collection for a while. I actually remember I bought this for my wedding day makeup, and my wedding was in 2018. So it was definitely time to use this up and move it out. I enjoy that. I have since, I haven't repurchased this one, but I did buy the LYS stick bronzer. So I am open to still trying the stick formula. I used up my mini NARS Laguna bronzer. I enjoyed this. It's such an OG, like classic YouTube item, and I was excited to have it and use it up. I enjoyed it, and you know, if it was ever like a point perk or something again, like I would get it. I don't think I would purchase it, but I did enjoy it. And most excitingly, I used up this entire Smashbox palette. I had been working on this for so long. It had a contour, bronzer, and like highlighter shade, but the highlighter was just basically like a straight up like white powder, which I did not enjoy. And so I ended up scraping that out and mixing it into a lotion to make a glowy lotion. So kind of cheating, but you know, it made me use it up. And then I eventually ended up mixing these two together and repressing because it was just really hard to dig them out. But so proud of myself for using up a face palette. I've done that 2 times now. I used up my 3-pan Hourglass palette a few years ago, I think, and now this one. And then I think I'm gonna roll in another face palette, the last one that I have, into my 2025 project pan. So I'm pretty excited about that. Next, I did use up one lip product successfully, and it was this e.l.f. Skinny Lipstick in Tea Rose. They don't make these anymore, but I did really enjoy this color. I was able to use this also as a cream blush, so excited to have rolled that out. That's kind of why I rolled in the lacquer, because I was like, oh, they're quite similar. I was able to use this up. Maybe I can do the same with this. Just didn't happen. Did not like this color as much, and it just didn't really work out, but that's okay. We made our best effort. And then finally, this product, it freaking took me like basically the entire year to use this up. And it was my ABH Brow Powder Duo in Blonde. So this was the one where originally when I got it, it was split down the middle, 2 shades of blonde. And eventually I just mixed them together and repressed. But holy cow, this took forever. And so because of that, I think it showed me that this product itself, like brow powder in general, is a pretty good investment, even if you're going to pay whatever this one is, like $25, because it lasted me a very long time. When I started panning this, it was already like halfway used. So the fact that it took me an entire year to use up what I had left, plus however long it took me to use up what was in there before, this is a really good value for the money. I have since switched from using powder. I used this so often this year that once it was finally gone, instead of repurchasing another powder, I decided to work through some of the things in my collection. So I have like it's like the Benefit like little pencil. So I've been using that and just like a brow gel. So I think that's what I'm gonna do going forward, try and work through some of those. But I definitely would consider repurchasing the ABH brow powder in the future because it really was so good. And I feel like it made my brows look really soft and fluffy. And doing my brows, if I haven't said it before, if you've watched any of my videos before, doing my brows is probably my least favorite part of doing my makeup, but I need to do them because I have very sparse blonde brows. So I do my brows pretty much every day. Anyway, that is the conclusion of my Project Pan 2024. So in total, I completely used up 11 makeup products, and that's including a 3-pan face palette as one item. And then we have made significant progress on these last 4 items. This is going to be leaving my collection. So that's kind of like 12. And then these, I think, we will see as empties at some point in 2025. So speaking of 2025, I wanted to share some thoughts about my 2025 project pan. I do enjoy project panning. I'm gonna continue doing it, don't worry. But I think what I'm gonna do is hold off on getting that going until the end of January. I really wanna give myself the month of January to kind of go through my collection again, I have a lot of new things that I have purchased or received for Christmas or just in the past few months. So I kind of want to give myself time to play with those and use those things. I also just did a whole collection declutter. Again, I'll have that video listed below. So now that my collection is looking cleaned out and decluttered the way it is now, I kind of want to take some time to reassess what I have in there before pulling out things that I want to pan in 2025. I also think that for a few items, instead of having the goal of completely using a product up, I'm going to have the goal of hitting pan on the product. So that way I can kind of roll things through more quickly, more consistently, and kind of put my hands on more things in my collection throughout the year as part of my project pan. So I hope that makes sense. I also think I'm going to do a eyeshadow palette project pan. So that video will be coming soon. I think I will introduce that early in January. So how that I think is going to work is I have a spreadsheet where I have listed all of my eyeshadow palettes and every color in the eyeshadow palettes. So then I will pick 5 to work on at a time, same as my project pan. I always have 5 items going at once. So I will have 5 eyeshadow shades going, and I will use like a randomizer on my phone to pick the number, and then I'll find that number on the spreadsheet, and that will be the palette and color in that palette that I will use. And then once I hit pan on that color, I'll do the process again. So kind of like a pan that eyeshadow palette roulette type of thing. I just think that would be kind of fun, and I do want to make more progress on using more of my eyeshadow palettes like in conjunction with each other, but I also know that I tend to grab for the same couple ones pretty often, so this will be a way to kind of force myself to use more of a variety, be more creative, and maybe pull different colors from different palettes that I wouldn't on a day-to-day basis, if that makes sense. So those are all things that are coming in 2025. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed, and if you enjoyed and learned from watching my entire 2024 project pan. I would really appreciate it. Please hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you're updated of all of my upcoming videos, and I will see you in 2025. Bye.